Welcome to Give Smart, the video series where we break down the legal side of giving. I'm Isabella, and in each episode, we talk to experts in the charitable fundraising and compliance space. In today's very special episode, we're joined by Stacy Cooper Dent, who's VP of Purpose at Torani, to explore how this amazing brand has turned flavor into a force for good. We're hoping that today's episode will give you all some inspiration for future giving or cause marketing campaigns, especially with Giving Tuesday coming up. So before we dive in, Stacy, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and share a bit about your role at Torani and what you oversee.
Sure. So I lead all of the impact initiatives, all of the sustainability initiatives, and the strategic planning at Torani. I don't know if you're familiar with the brand before we started working together, but Torani is a 100-year-old flavor company. So maybe best known for putting in your flavored lattes. We're now today in over 9 million households across the country. I have been a part of this fast-growing company for over 20 years, and as we get ready to move into our second century of business, we're really thinking about how we can expand our impact outside of our walls here internally, which we've been doing for many, many decades, and I have the great opportunity to lead that effort. We are a certified B Corp, and aligning our giving with our purpose and our mission of flavor and expanding opportunity is what we're most excited about.
Amazing. And I am Isabella. I am the marketing lead here at Change, and we help companies like Torani manage the behind-the-scenes compliance and fund disbursement for these kinds of amazing giving campaigns that Stacy is talking about. For today's webinar, here's just a quick rundown of what we'll cover today. Stacy did cover a bit about Torani, but I'd love to just dig in a little bit more into the giving campaign there. We're going to talk about different sorts of campaign ideas that e-commerce companies or just companies in general can implement. We're going to talk about some requirements that are necessary for donation campaigns, and then we'll ask Stacy about the impact and results of their campaign so far, and then just some closing thoughts. So let's get into it. You did cover a little bit, most of this here, Stacy, but just giving you another opportunity here to talk about Torani.
So Torani started in 1925 in the Italian neighborhood of San Francisco. We are still doing 100% of our manufacturing right in the Bay Area, and we are still a fiercely independent company. We make syrups, like the flavors that you see up here, sauces, and a number of other products that are enjoyed at cafes, in restaurants, in homes like mine, and all around the world. So we're really thinking about how can we create opportunities for people to get ahead. So that's economically and in learning, growth, and development. So that's what we're really passionate about, and that was kind of the impetus around this campaign that we started working together with you all.
Awesome. Yeah, can you tell us a bit about this campaign?
Yeah. So every year we launch our flavor of the year, and this is usually a flavor where our trend experts have spent years scanning the landscape, identifying really what do we think is the next cutting edge flavor. But for 2025, we decided to do something a little bit different than launch our flavor of the year. So last November, we launched our flavor of the century. I actually have a bottle right here. This is Torani Diamond Syrup. So Diamond Syrup tastes a little bit like champagne and vanilla mixed together, and it was our celebratory flavor for our 100th anniversary. So we felt like this was a really great opportunity to take a product and really test out how can we create this and connect this back to our brand and create a giving effort around it. So we committed to giving away 100% of the profit, so every dollar that we made on this product for all of 2025. November from when it launched all the way through this December of this year. So we launched this around the world to all different to cafes, restaurants, and home kitchens everywhere. And all of the funds that we created, all the profits that we had, we gave away as opportunity grants, $10,000 grants to organizations that were helping people scaling work readiness skills and access to first jobs. We set out to identify a number of nonprofits that really were exemplified.
That is incredible. I have a few follow-up questions, but the first one is, what is your favorite way to use the syrup? Like, what kind of drink do you like to make? I'm just really
This
curious.
one I love in cold brew, like iced coffees with like a cold foam. So I think that's
Ooh,
my
okay.
favorite for this one. Yes.
Okay, yummy.
Yeah. I'll send
Okay,
you a
sorry,
box,
back.
Isabella.
I'm dying to try it. But back to the giving part of it. How did the idea of the opportunity grants come about, and what does that look like in
Yeah.
practice? Like these like
So
$10,000 grants.
Yeah, so for us, we just wanted to we thought that this was a great way to engage our consumers in our giving. It was a great way to use the platform of our 100th anniversary to hopefully sell a lot more bottles and talk with a lot more people about it. So we really went into this with a test and learn mindset. And we wanted to think about where is that intersection between what's really important to us and what's really important to our consumers. So since this was our first big give back, we had a lot to learn. I think the compliance piece was really complicated. We didn't understand that when we first kind of embarked on this piece. So I think when we were able to find a partner like Get Change to help us figure out how to streamline it, it helped a lot, because we realized that if we didn't have that kind of compliance, that we wouldn't be able to talk about the organizations that we were partnering with and a number of other things. So for us, the way that we identified who the organizations were was a little bit different than most grant recipients. So rather than asking nonprofit organizations to fill out applications, what we did was we went quietly behind the scenes and researched different nonprofits in cities across the country. We looked at where our consumers lived. And we went out and researched, are they the right size? Are they the right kind of organizations doing the right kind of work? And are they supporting the populations that we wanted to support, which were really opportunity youth, people with intellectual disabilities, justice impacted people, and help them find first jobs. I think the biggest challenge for us, in addition to compliance, was thinking about how to communicate this really clearly to consumers, because it is a nuanced, layered effort. And I think that was some of the work that took a lot for us on the upfront side.
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like this actually goes pretty well with this next slide here, but just when brands are thinking about these sorts of giving campaigns, there's so many ways to structure them. So you could do like a roundup at checkout, you could do like an add-on donation at checkout, you could do a buy one, give one, it could be a co-branded partnership with one specific nonprofit. I'm curious to know, I feel like this flavor of the year idea is so unique and so cool.
Yeah.
When you were exploring ways to give back, were there any other models that you were looking at? And then how did you land on this idea?
Yeah, I think we actually looked at pretty much all of these. We didn't look at the co-branded nonprofit partnerships for this specific one, but we absolutely have done a lot of discovery around loyalty point donations, which is a complicated system that we didn't quite have kind of the infrastructure in place for it yet. Roundups, we really wanted, is great. It's a great way to engage consumers, but I think we wanted to show our huge commitment to the giving here in the campaign. So we decided to go with 100% of the profits rather than 100% of the purchase price. To us, that became the most clear thing to be able to model on the back end, and something that we felt like, with our forecast, that we could comfortably be able to give, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but not up to millions of dollars. I think just because it was a complicated campaign, that felt like the easiest way to engage our consumers at the beginning. So one thing that we did was, for everybody that bought on Torani.com, they had the choice at checkout to decide which population was going to benefit from their bottles donation. And even that, we were surprised that there was no added cost to them, and still only about half of consumers even bothered to click that. And we realized that this is going to take some time and kind of to build some effort around it. So we're going to continue this year with the flavor of 2026, which is launching in November. But I think for us, it felt like the most clear way to show our commitment and to start to engage consumers in a kind of meaningful way to get started. And I think some of these other programs are definitely coming down the pike for us. It's just going to take us a little bit longer.
Totally, yeah. I feel like understanding what is best for your consumers is actually the most important piece when deciding which campaign model is best. And I trust that you all made the right decision. I mean, like I said, I think it's a really unique and cool concept to have a product tied to the impact. I'd also love to talk about the requirements needed for donation campaigns. So this is kind of where change steps in and can help out. There's a lot of back end work that needs to happen when it comes to these sorts of campaigns, starting with nonprofit verification. So just like a little bit of background for those listening. When you are a company like Torani and you're paying out to nonprofits, it's really important for a company like Torani to ensure that the organizations are registered, they're legitimate, they're in good standing with the state government, with the federal government. So the Change platform actually has these built-in nonprofit health checks. So we make sure every nonprofit is fully verified. We make sure that they pass these California compliance checks, which are just 2 years old. And this is all to decrease the risk associated to these sorts of campaigns, making sure that every donation ends up where it ought to, and making sure those organizations are legitimate. That's one side of these requirements that we see a lot. The other side is the fund disbursement and the actual compliance pieces. So, Stacy, I know that this campaign kind of ended up being a commercial co-venture campaign for Torani. So that means you needed to register in certain states. Would you mind talking a little bit about the commercial co-venture side, this whole compliance journey that you all went through?
So I think when we set out to give away 100% of the profits, we didn't have any experts in this space. And we didn't understand the complexity of what co-venture filings was really going to require from us. So we initially started this project with our attorney, who didn't actually have a ton of direct experience either. So it was very iterative. Like, we would plan the campaign one way, we'd fill out all the paperwork, and then we'd hit a roadblock and we'd have to start all over. So there were a lot of challenges because we didn't kind of start with a Get Change platform to think about that. As I said, I think finding Get Change and figuring out how to do this much better in the future has streamlined things in a much better way for us. I will tell you, I personally had to fill out and sign co-venture filings when we did this without Get Change for a dozen states myself. I had to put my home address on these things. I had to get board member signatures. I had to get CEOs' addresses and many different things for every different state. And it was incredibly complex. And it's something that I would really encourage that people find a partner that can help do this for them. So to mitigate the risk and also just mitigate the time, because it was something that I felt uncomfortable about because I didn't fully understand the legal filings. I've learned a lot more, and I understand the reason that there is all of these filings now is around consumer protections, to ensure that when products say they're giving the money back, that they really are, that consumers can have a high level of confidence in that. But it is something that's weighty to sort out, and I'd encourage people either to really learn the systems or find a good partner that can help them do that.
Absolutely, I love to hear that. Yeah, we've heard from a lot of different companies that it can be very tricky, especially when you're starting out, just understanding that this even exists, that these requirements even exist at all. A couple other things to consider, or that companies are required to do, is fill out annual reports after the campaign is concluded. Those are things that Torani will have to do at some point coming up. And also, like, the disbursements to the nonprofits. Some states have certain requirements on, like, the number of days, you know, like a time frame for when you need to pay out the nonprofit. So these are things that Change actually helps with. So Change does pay out to the end nonprofit and make sure that companies like Torani are complying with these state regulations. So we're really glad that Torani found Change.
Me too. I think, and even small things like running our program from launch through the following year required 2 separate years of filings, right? Because it was running for 14 months. So just adding work upon work for our team to do some of these things was really complicated. And what our model has been was that we were at the end of every quarter, we were looking back and identifying exactly how much we'd made out in profits at that quarter, and then distributing our grants, ever many $10,000 grants we had generated in profit from that quarter. So I think streamlining the payments is something that's really great for the nonprofits as well. They have more visibility to how they're going to be paid, which I think is something that, as we're trying to develop longer term relationships and partnerships where we can work together with them, I think it's a great benefit for them too. think they're trying to manage their funds and their budgets. So I think the more that we can be thoughtful of them and how we create these processes to support them is really, really at the heart of why most of us are doing this.
Absolutely. That's very true. And that leads me to the next slide here, actually. I'd love to hear from you just the impact and the results so far from the 2025 Flavor of the Year campaign and how that all went for you all.
So I ran the report last week. We've sold 82,000 bottles of diamond syrup, which is quite a bit for a first year of an unexpected flavor. And if we did the math right, that's going to flavor over $2 million or 2 million drinks this year. And we still have a couple months left, so we're really excited about that. Right now, we've distributed around $100,000, so $10,000 Torani opportunity grants. Hopefully we'll be able to squeeze a few more in there based on this. We've also been really excited about all of the customer feedback, particularly our cafes that have been so excited about this. The program has generated dozens of media placements, a ton of broadcasts, which has been really fun, which has helped us, I think, tell our story more about, things that are important to us and how we want to expand that. So I think those are the wins. I think the other win for me is that this program has been deemed so exciting and successful that our team that we've agreed to give away 100% of our profits for the flavor of 2026. So that I think is launching on November 13th. It's a super secret new flavor. It's something that's right on trend and a little bit out there that you might find surprising. But the fact that we're going to be able to give away 100% of the profits again and hopefully sell well more than 100,000 bottles this year is something that we're really excited about.
That is incredible. I can't wait to see what the flavor is. I have some theories. I'm thinking Labubu matcha something. No, I don't know. I have no idea.
You have no idea. Yeah, it's an out there this year. It's an out there, but it's a real flavor. It's not so Diamond was a fantasy flavor. It was our interpretation of what we think diamonds will taste like. This is a real flavor that has a standard of identity that you will know. But it is something that's a little bit newer on the beverage scene for sure.
I'm sure it's going to be really delicious. My last question here is, I'm wondering if you have followed up with any of the recipients of the opportunity grants and what you plan on doing for just kind of checking in and seeing what the end impact has been for those organizations.
Absolutely. So about half of the organizations that we've given to already, we're starting to deepen our partnership. So I think for us, giving funds is a great way to start to build our relationship in a small way to understand, are we aligned? Do we have the same kind of values and missions? And on some of the organizations that we're working with, we're starting to have really fun ways that we're starting to run different programs and tests together. So maybe I give you a couple of examples. Juma Ventures is an amazing nonprofit in the Bay Area and up in Seattle, and they focus on giving young people that really need a first job. And the way they do that is by creating jobs at stadiums. So maybe at Oracle Park or Levi Stadium, a lot of the food service jobs there. So we this year launched a little Torani truck that's going to cities across the country and popping up and serving fun drinks. And they're popping up in the Bay Area next week, and we're staffing that fully with Juma youth. So it's one example of how can we create some jobs with one of our partners. Another organization is called East Bay Innovations. They're also in the Bay Area, and they support people with developmental disabilities. We met them through this program of, around our Torani opportunity grants and diamond syrup. And then earlier this year, we launched a barista training program where we put 4 of their clients through a month-long barista training program. And then we helped them find 3-month internships at local cafes so they could continue to develop their skills and hopefully get a job in the cafe community. So I think that's where a real win for us has been, of finding these partners, figuring out where else can we support them outside of just dollars. And I think as we think about how we can continue to build meaningful relationships, I think this has been a great way to get started. For the flavor of 2026, we're going to work with some of the same nonprofits, and then we're adding a few more in that we're really excited about that are kind of adjacent to the flavor a little bit. So maybe I can share those next month.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. It sounds like Torani is really incorporating purpose and impact into all sides and facets of the company, which is great. Not just the financial and monetary donations, but also with time and energy, which is incredible for any brand. So that's
We're
amazing.
getting started and we're trying things for sure. And I think scaling donation activations through product launches and campaigns is a great way to do that. And I think we want to continue doing that and continue learning with Get Change and other partners. And then really think about, yeah, how do we deepen those relationships to drive sustainable, kind of measurable impact in our communities for sure.
That cool. Well, thank you so much, Stacy. And thanks to everybody watching. Thanks for joining us. I hope this conversation sparked some ideas and some great campaign ideas for Giving Tuesday and beyond. If you and your team runs donation activations or cause marketing campaigns, please follow the Give Smart series for more insights on building programs that drive impact and stay compliant. And Stacy, thank you so much for your insight, your time, and good luck with the flavor of the year. I can't wait to see what it is.
Thanks for all your support, Isabella.